In a world that feels more complex and chaotic than ever, what if our whole approach to leadership and change is, well, just wrong? Today, we're going to dive into something called the Powers of 10 Fractal Framework. It's a new model that really challenges us to rethink pretty much everything we thought we knew.
So many of us in leadership roles feel this constant tension, right? We've got more data, more tech, and more resources than ever before. But our biggest problems? They just stick around. And it leads you to a really fundamental question. What if we're chasing the wrong thing? What if the problem isn't that our plans aren't good enough, but that our basic understanding of how systems actually change is flawed from the start?
Okay, so the first big idea here is a pretty radical shift in perspective. It asks us to move away from those rigid linear plans we're all so used to, and instead to focus on something way more organic and powerful: patterns.
And you can see the difference so clearly on this slide. On the left, you've got the old model we all know. Define a solution, implement it, and then try to copy-paste it everywhere else. But let's be real, complex systems just don't work that way. The fractal model on the right shows that real change comes from this continuous cycle of how we relate to each other, how we decide, and how we act. It's a living, breathing process, not some static plan you can just print out.
And this right here is the big aha moment. If change spreads through patterns, then the main job of a leader isn't just about hitting targets or managing projects. What's absolutely crucial to get is that a leader's real job is to set and reinforce healthy patterns of behavior, of thinking, and of relating with each other.
All right, so what are the actual building blocks of this pattern-based approach? Let's break down the components of the fractal framework and see how it all clicks together. Okay, first up, what even is a fractal? I guarantee you've seen them in nature even if you didn't know the name. Think about a fern, where the shape of the entire plant is repeated in every single little leaf, or a coastline, which looks just as jagged and complex whether you're seeing it from space or from just a few feet away. And here's the kicker. Social systems work the exact same way. The patterns in a simple two-person conversation can perfectly mirror the dynamics of an entire organization.
And this is how those patterns travel. We often think our individual actions are too small to matter, or global problems are just too big to touch. But that's not how it works. Influence flows across all these interconnected scales. A belief you hold inside yourself, that shapes your relationships. Those relationships define your team's culture. And that culture, it impacts the whole organization, which in turn affects society. See? It's all connected.
So when you put these two ideas together, these self-similar patterns and the connected scales, you get this brand new concept of leadership: fractal agency. And this has nothing to do with your job title or where you sit on the org chart. It's all about your ability to act from a consistent set of positive values, whether you're in a one-on-one meeting or making a huge strategic decision for the whole company. And these are the kinds of universal values we're talking about. Look, the goal here isn't to be perfect. Nobody is. The real goal is coherence. It's about making sure that the values you say you hold are the exact same ones that actually show up in your actions day in and day out.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But how do we actually use this? Well, this framework isn't just some cool idea. It's a practical guide, and it starts in the one place you have total control, right here, with you. And this part is so critical. In a fractal system, the tiniest piece holds the blueprint for the entire thing. So as a leader, your own inner state, what you believe, how you react, your gut assumptions, that literally becomes the default operating system for the whole team or organization around you. The pattern really does start with you.
So this framework really asks us to do some deep self-reflection. And the first question you've got to ask yourself is this: when things get tough, when the pressure's really on, what truly guides your choices? Is it the values you talk about, or is it something else?
And here's another really powerful one. Really think about it. Those moments when you're just exhausted, or you're up against a crazy deadline, or maybe you're just plain scared. What behaviors do you default to? Do you cut corners, shut down communication, start blaming others? Those subconscious patterns, man, they are so contagious.
And this slide just nails the fundamental shift. Traditional leadership is so often built on external control. Targets, bonuses, top-down authority. But fractal leadership, it's built on internal coherence, making sure your values, your purpose, and your actions are all lined up. So instead of asking, how do I make people do this, the question completely flips to, what pattern am I making normal around here?
Now, to actually make this change stick, you have to be working across 3 different spheres, all at the same time. You've got the personal, which is your inner world of beliefs, the practical, your outer world of actions and projects, and the political, which is the world of systems, rules, and power dynamics. If you change one without the others, it's just not going to last. Think about it. A new company policy, that's the political, is going to fall flat if your team doesn't actually believe in it, that's the personal.
So, where does this all leave us? What does it mean for the future of leadership? Well, it suggests a pretty profound move away from that old model of the lone heroic leader towards something way more resilient and scalable, distributed agency.
This quote just gets right to the heart of everything we've been talking about. You can send out memos and instructions all day long, but that is not what scales. What scales is what people see being modeled and rewarded by leadership, consistently, over time. That, right there, is how real culture gets built.
And honestly, this might be the most liberating part of this whole idea. You don't have to be the hero carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Your job isn't to force change. Your real job is to just embody and model a better pattern and create an environment where other people feel safe and empowered to do the same. And then, agency just spreads, naturally.
So, when you boil it all down, this is a complete reframing of what it even means to be a leader. We're talking about a shift from control to stewardship, from relying on charisma to building real coherence, and from hoarding authority to distributing agency.
And that leaves us with one simple, super practical question you can literally ask yourself every single day. Before you send that email, before you run that meeting, before you make that decision, just pause and ask, if everyone in the system acted this way, would it actually create the future we say we want? And if the answer is no, well, that's okay, because you have the power to change the pattern right then and there. It all starts with you.